If I can have your attention, I think everybody has been through the line. As we get started, let me introduce the class of 2024 for the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
Before in there. Go down to the room. Yeah.
At the end. Save that one for me.
Okay.
You guys here? Yeah. I get sit next to a good-looking girl, okay? Again, welcome to the 23rd Annual Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame Banquet, presented by First Financial Bank. The Hall of Fame recognizes the outstanding athletes and coaches from a 19-county area that we call the Big Country. As we begin, I'd like to ask Josh Hardcastle to come forward. Josh is an executive with the Big Country Fellowship of Christian Athletes. If he'll give our invocation. Josh.
Let's pray. Father God, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for these coaches, these athletes, these people that we're celebrating. Thank you so much for the impact that they have had on the field, on the courts. But God, we thank you for the people that they are off the courts as well. We are just so grateful for the lives that they have lived, for the ways that they have honored this community. Thank you for the people in this room that can surround them tonight as we celebrate and honor them, God. We thank you so much for this food. Thank you for this time that we have together. And I pray above all that we can become more like Jesus in every day. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Josh, thank you. Josh and I are on the banquet circuit. I was at one of his FCA banquet, the 25th anniversary of the All-Star Festival that the FCA has, and it was a great event on last Friday. We'd like to thank our sponsors. Of course, our presenting sponsor, First Financial Bank, our gold sponsors, Bibb & Associates and Gerald Farms, our VIP reception sponsor, R.W. Baird, our scholarship reception sponsor, BML Incorporated. We'll have more about our scholarships in a moment. Our video sponsor, MHC Kenworth, and our ticket print sponsor, Steve Smith of Raymond James Financial. We could not do this without their support. You can also see in your program a list of the table sponsors, and we thank you for your support. Appreciate all of you being here to help support the Hall of Fame. You know, I get to stand up here as chairman of the Hall of Fame. This is our 23rd year, my 23rd year to be the MC of it. But we have a board of directors that oversee the Hall of Fame, and so would all the members of the Hall of Fame board of directors who are here tonight, please stand so we can recognize you. The real work is done by our staff at the museum. If you have not been to our museum, please come by. We're located in the Mall of Abilene, right next to JCPenney. We've been there 3.5 years now. As far as I know, we are the only local sports Hall of Fame in the state of Texas. There's the Texas Sports Hall of Fame in Waco, but we're really proud of what we have been able to accomplish. And our staff, our office manager and event coordinator, Carol Sanderson, and our museum staff, Bryson Shake, Ann Floyd, and Tucker Sarter, would you please stand to be recognized? Also, a big thank you to the Shed. Doesn't get much better than that, does it? I hope you enjoyed your food tonight. Also, thank you to 3rd Street Printing and Sign Company, our videographer, Randy Cluck, and our photographer, Cody Coyle. In your program, you can see how you can order videos or photos from tonight's event. I hope I have a complete list. I'm not sure, but we're going to hopefully see who I miss. I usually miss one, but I'd like to introduce the past Hall of Fame inductees who are here tonight. Rick Myers, former professional tennis player, played at Cooper and TCU. Rick, you stand. Steve Warren, who led Abilene High to the 2009 state championship in football. Ray Berry, former Cooper, Baylor, Minnesota Viking linebacker. Mark Oates. Is Mark here? There you go, Mark. Mark was a gymnast at Abilene High and went on to be an NCAA champion at the University of Oklahoma. Is Kendra Whitehead here tonight? Well, there she is. Thank you, Kendra. Kendra was the Division III Player of the Year in the nation her senior year at Hardin-Simmons. She came back to her alma mater and this year led the Cowgirls to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA Division III National Tournament. We're all looking for the fountain of youth. Bev Ball, the longtime swim coach at Abilene High, Cooper McMurray has founded Bev Ball. Former Cooper and Baylor baseball and basketball player and former athletic director, Baylor, Tom Stanton. A member of last year's legacy class, Gerald Galbraith, who played on the state championship teams at Abilene High in the 50s. Gerald? Former state champion golfer from Wiley and Texas A&M, academic All-American, Trey Todd. Former Cooper tennis coach, Leanne Scott. Now here's the most important question. Who'd I forget? Did I do good? Don't say anything too loud. I think I did all right. We'd like to take just a second also to remember some Hall of Fame inductees. Believe it or not, we have lost 7 Hall of Fame inductees since last year's banquet. Those 7, as we remember today, Doyle Brunson from Sweetwater, who not only was an outstanding basketball player and track athlete at Hardin-Simmons and Sweetwater, but he became the most famous poker player in the world, Doyle Brunson. Pat Gerald, who just passed away this year. Pat was our very first legacy class. He and his dad and his son and his brother, longtime Sweetwater resident. Chuck Harrison. Chuck played at Abilene High. He played baseball and football, went to Texas Tech. I always called Chuck a man of first. He played in the first Southwest Conference football game that Texas Tech played in. He then played baseball, went to the major leagues. He played in the Astrodome the first year it was open, and he was a starting first baseman in the first game ever for the Kansas City Royals. Chuck Harrison. Bill Little from Winters, longtime University of Texas sports information director, and he was really the face and the voice of the Longhorns for years. Dean Smith, our only Olympic gold medalist. Dean won the 4x100 relay in the 1952 Olympics in Helsinki, and then became a stuntman in Hollywood. He's the only person we have is in the Stuntman Hollywood Hall of Fame and the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. And then we lost 2 of our inductees just this past week. W.T. Stapler from Sweetwater, and of course coached at Brownwood. From Hamlin originally, coached at Winters. He won the 1985 state championship at Sweetwater. And Bruce Land, one of the great sprinters in the country from Hawley, who later ran in McMurray, and in fact had an unofficial timed world record in the 100. So we honor all of those who have passed on this past year. You know, this banquet is our sole fundraiser. It not only funds our annual banquet, but also it funds our museum in the Mall of Abilene and our other activities. For the past 3 years, we've also honored the state medalists in every sport with a reception at the museum following each sport and their season, and their pictures then hang in the Hall of Fame for the next year. Just recently, we honored the state tournament teams in basketball and the state medalists in powerlifting. We also give scholarships to graduating student athletes. This year, we are giving 12 $1,500 scholarships. That means we have now given more than $160,000 in college scholarships to graduating seniors. The reception for our scholarship recipients will be next Sunday. Now, there's one other way you can help besides being at the banquet tonight, and that is May 7th is the Day of Giving in Abilene, sponsored by the Community Foundation of Abilene. Anytime between now and May 7th, you can go online to AbileneGives.org and make a contribution to the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. We're one of several hundred nonprofits, but we hope that you would honor us with giving a little bit to help preserve the history, the sports history of the Big Country, and also honor the current student athletes from the 19-county Big Country area. You have a card on your table that has the website and has a QR code. We're kind of sneaky. The QR code will take it directly to donating to us, which is a good thing. As you know, we're always looking to raise money. We're a nonprofit. We're a 501c3. Your contribution is greatly appreciated. A lot of what we do is with volunteers, but we also have to pay rent at the mall. We pay our employees, utilities, etc. We're always looking for ways to upgrade our museum and improve our museum. As you know, I mentioned we're the only sports hall of fame of this type in the country. And many of our inductees have been inducted into the Texas Sports Hall of Fame in Waco, including a couple weeks ago when my wife and I had the pleasure of being there to see Colt McCoy, the former Jim Ned and University of Texas quarterback, being inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. So any contribution you can make, including during the Abilene Gives campaign, is needed and would be greatly appreciated. Well, if we are ready, we're going to begin with our videos. If they would, if somebody got the lights, there we go. So we begin with our first, the Bill Hart Memorial Legends Award for Bob Carruthers and Debs Garms. And we turn to the MHC Kenworth video board. This year's Bill Hart Memorial Legends Award recipients, Debs Garms and Robert Carruthers, both made their mark in baseball. Garms, who is being inducted posthumously, was born in Bangs in 1907. He played baseball and ran track at Howard Payne University. He made his Major League Baseball debut with the St. Louis Browns on August 10, 1932, and played 12 seasons for the Browns, Boston Braves, Pittsburgh Pirates, and St. Louis Cardinals. He had several remarkable achievements. In 1938, Garms broke up Johnny Vandermeer's streak of hitless innings after Vandermeer had thrown back-to-back no-hitters. In 1940, Garms batted .355 to win the National League batting title, and in 1941, he set a then Major League record for consecutive pinch hits with 7. In 12 big league seasons, Garms batted .293 with 438 runs scored, 141 doubles, 39 triples, 7 home runs, and 328 RBIs. He played in both the 1943 and 1944 World Series and was inducted into the Texas Baseball Hall of Fame in 2004. Robert Carruthers was the all-state starting shortstop for Abilene High's baseball team that was state runner-up in 1955 and won back-to-back state championships in 1956 and 1957. He was a 3-time all-district selection and led the district in home runs as a junior and a senior. As a senior at Abilene High, he hit .367 and led the team with 34 RBIs and 6 home runs. He was the standout baseball player on a team that included some of the greatest players in Abilene High history, including Glenn Gregory, Freddie Green, and Jimmy Carpenter, all of whom are members of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. Prior to high school, Carruthers played on the first Abilene team to advance to the Pony League World Series in Pennsylvania in 1953. In 1955, he was one of 125 boys statewide to earn a spot on one of the 8 teams of the Texas Major Teenage League. Kansas City A's scout Buster Mills of Ranger, who is also a Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, discovered Carruthers, who initially signed a letter of intent with Baylor, but instead signed a 3-year bonus contract with the A's following high school. He saw 30 innings as an 18-year-old during spring training in 1958, but was sent to the minors after suffering a knee injury. In 1959, Carruthers led the sophomore league in 5 offensive categories, including 23 home runs and 119 RBIs. He also had the top fielding percentage among all shortstops. He played for professional teams with the California State League in Visalia and the sophomore league's Albuquerque Dukes in 1960. In 3 minor league seasons, Carruthers had more than 1,100 at-bats with 46 home runs and 221 RBIs. RBIs. In his final game with the Dodgers, Carruthers hit 2 home runs against the Dodgers' top AAA team, but decided to retire from baseball and returned to Baylor to finish his degree, and then began a 40-year career in banking. Please welcome Robert Carruthers as the newest legend member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
I want to thank the Board of Directors and the Selection Committee for granting me this incredible honor. And I want to thank the people, and many of you are here in the audience tonight, for your support and recommendations. I would not be standing here were it not for you. And I appreciate it very much. And I want to thank my wife, Jenny, for her support, and she's the one who went back 65 years and found the information for the Hall of Fame. That was not an easy chore. Anyway, and I want to thank my teammates. I could not have played with a more talented group of athletes than the one I was privileged not only to play with in high school, but to grow up with. It all started in the 1940s, late 1940s. We were playing on vacant lots here in Abilene and just had our neighborhood teams. And my vacant lot was on Sanderford Street to University Boulevard, about 4 blocks west of Hardin Simmons. And from that vacant lot to this convention center, it's 2 miles. And it's taken me 75 years to get here. One thing you need about our little North Side neighborhood team, 3 of us are in the Hall of Fame. The other 2 are Stuart Peak and Joe Millerman. And it all started in 1951 when Abilene put in the Little League baseball system. And we left the vacant lots and we all came together to play with and against each other. And then the next year, Abilene put in the Pony League baseball season. And we came together and we played more with each other than against each other. And as you saw, we went to the World Series. We played Chicago, Illinois, a 14-inning game, and that's still the longest Pony League World Series game that has ever been played. And what we experienced there was a competition that we played against seasoned us as we entered Abilene High School in 1954. And during that 3 years, Abilene High School won 7 state championships. And our girls were very successful under Coach Ball in tennis and volleyball. And it's just been a real pleasure to me have grown up and been lucky enough to be at Abilene High School in those wonderful years. I want to thank you very much for this wonderful honor. My family and I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
Bob, congratulations. Next up, if you turn to the MHC Kenworth video board and the introduction of Corey Aldridge. Corey Aldridge was a 2-sport standout athlete at Abilene Cooper High School. In football, he played tight end on the Cougars team that advanced to the 1996 Class 5A state championship game before losing to Drew Brees and Austin Westlake in the title game at Texas Stadium. In baseball, Aldridge was an all-district outfielder for the Cougars. Following high school, Aldridge was drafted by the Atlanta Braves in the 4th round of the 1997 Major League Baseball draft. He then spent 18 years playing professional baseball from 1997 to 2014 for the Braves, Kansas City Royals, New York Mets, Chicago White Sox, Los Angeles Angels, and Toronto Blue Jays organizations. He reached the majors briefly with the Braves and the Angels. In 2010, Aldridge was called up by the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim to play in the outfield, and he got his first major league hit against the Oakland Athletics, an RBI triple. Aldridge also played in Korea and was the most valuable player in winter ball in Mexico and Venezuela. He also played 2 years in the Independent Atlantic League and was the 2009 Kansas City Royals Organizational Player of the Year. Aldridge, whose career showed tremendous perseverance, is still active in baseball as the owner of a facility in Katy that provides batting instruction to a whole new generation of young baseball players. Please welcome Corey Aldridge as the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
Try to make this short. I learned a long time ago when I was 10, 11 years old that sausage on a stick and Frito pie is a hell of a drug. My grandmother's husband, Robert Brewster, would pick me up every weekend to go to Little League fields, and we go watch games of kids I had no clue about, but I enjoyed watching it. And then one day I went to his closet and I picked up a bat. He said, go outside and swing it. I said, all right, cool. I learned that I was pretty good. I was very fortunate to have very, very involved parents, good friends like my man Luke here. Sat at the bench with him a little bit, had a good time. Up until today, I never really had a chance to look at my career. I pretty much went from playing 18 years to I really want to help kids and parents understand how this thing works, sports, not just baseball. Keeping guys from falling through some of the loopholes, injuries, how things work, school. And today, when I actually found that I had to give a speech, I finally took an account of things that have happened, being able to play in Korea and Mexico and the people that I've met playing with Hall of Famers. A few years ago, I got to go coach in a tournament in Cooperstown, and there's an exhibit in Cooperstown of September 11th, the game we played against the Braves and the Mets, and I scored the first go-ahead run in that game. And I was like, that's gonna be the closest I ever get to any Hall of Fame. Here I am. But I just want to thank Granny, your husband, my Aunt Sharon, Marvin, my mom, Luke. You keep me sane. You've kept me sane over 18 years of baseball. A lot of injuries, but and I want to thank all you guys. This is way more than what I thought it would be. I was kind of hesitant because I'm having trouble traveling here, first of all, and just didn't know what it was going to be like. But I've run into a lot of people that I haven't seen since really I graduated, and it's been a blast from the past. But I want to say thank you to all you guys. This is probably the first time I would say since I retired that I actually feel like I hit a home run again. So I just want to say thank you guys, and I really appreciate it. Thank you to all you guys too.
I've known Corey for a long time. I aged, and he still looks like he can play, doesn't he? Turn your attention now again to the MHC Kenworth video board and our introduction of Frank Biggers. Frank Biggers played basketball at Wallace High School, a segregated black school in Colorado City before integration. The Wallace Wildcats were one of the most successful basketball teams in the state between 1956 and 1966, winning 5 Prairie View Interscholastic League state championships. The Wildcats had a 103-game winning streak from 1956 to 1961, which was snapped in the middle of the 1961 season by Abilene Woodson. As a 6'3" sophomore, Biggers was selected to the All-State team in 1962 as Wallace defeated Beckville 76-66 to win the state championship with a record of 40 wins and 2 losses. Wallace also won the state championship again in 1964 during Biggers' senior season, and he was again named All-State. He holds the single-game scoring record at Wallace High School with 44 points. After graduating from Wallace, Biggers continued his basketball career at Cisco Junior College. During his 2 years at Cisco, he was the 3rd leading scorer in the nation, averaging 32 points a game and shooting 89% from the foul line. He was drafted during the Vietnam War and served in the U.S. Army. He once said he went from carrying a basketball to an M16. He never lost his love for basketball, however. While serving, he played on a basketball team representing the U.S. Army. After the military, Biggers continued playing basketball with the Harlem Stars basketball team, which traveled through the western United States and Mexico, sometimes playing 7 games a week. Earlier this year, Biggers was recognized on the Colorado City Hall of Honor, and now please welcome Frank Biggers as the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
I don't know how we're gonna do this. I would like to thank Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame for being inducted here. Not only an honor for me, but for my family, friends, teammates, and community. The history of Wallace School, Texas, can easily be forgotten, but this award continues history. Joe Maddox, my friend, worked hard to get me inducted. He recently passed away, so I will say thank you to him and his family. I would also like to thank the Wallace family. Without Edie John Wallace, the school of Mitchell County may never have existed. Mr. Wallace was recently inducted to the National Cowboy Hall of Fame in Oklahoma City. His daughters served as my teachers at Wallace School. Edie John Wallace's story is highlighted in the May of 2024 issue of Texas Monthly. Wallace School was coached by W.D. Harris, one of the greatest coaches that I have known. When he talk to you, your name is Frank Biggers. He can call your whole name. That's when you know you're in trouble. But he was controlling. He controlled everything. Like I said, that he had the way of, if he embarrassed you, you know that he get done what he wants you to do. So if he tell you to turn that corner, and you don't turn that corner, he gonna call timeout, come out on the floor and grab you in your collar and pull you all the way back across. So you got the message. So he was very, very, if you miss free throws, the next day you will run. Because he said, how can you sit up there, nobody on you, and miss a shot when you make a shot with somebody on you? So you gonna run. He cut the clock on you, you gonna run. Cisco was, when I first went to Cisco, it was doing when they was first integrated. And it was pretty hard at Cisco in '64 when they integrated for us. But it didn't take long. After we started winning all those ball games, it didn't take long for Cisco to make a little turn, and we were getting uniforms every other week. We just get uniforms, just buy us uniforms, just buy us uniforms. And it It's just a turnaround. So we had fun at Cisco. I have to tell you about my coach, how he was. I grew up, we had jobs in the lunchroom. Hey, that's the best job I have in the lunchroom. You get a chance to eat free. But one night we were supposed to practice ball and we didn't show. We was all down at the movies with our lady friend, with our skirts. He called them skirts. With our skirts. And he walked in the theater and said, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. So we ran out and sneaked back in. So he came back. Don't you come back to school tomorrow? Don't you come back to school tomorrow? Don't you come back to school tomorrow? And you lost your job in the lunchroom. Well, we didn't care about going back to school, but lose your job in the lunchroom. You know, golly, come on, coach. But of course, we went out. We was at spell. We went out of school the next day, made a block. He called the sheriff department on. Told the sheriff department, y'all can't be out here, y'all expelled. So that's the way he was. So like I said, he was beyond his time. I also want to thank Mark Merrill, who done a lot for me. And I appreciate that, him and his wife Judy. I see a lot of my friends out here. I'm glad you guys came. And Mark and I went over this yesterday for about 3 or 4 hours, and I don't know about none of this. But anyway, we got it all together, and again, I thank everyone for inducting me in the Hall of Fame, and I definitely enjoyed it. Enjoyed my family, my friends, and like I said, is that I'm glad to be here, and y'all have a good day.
Frank, thank you. Congratulations. Again, we turn to the MHC Kenworth video board and the introduction of Peyton Little-Decker. Peyton Little-Decker was one of the top basketball prospects in the nation when she came out of Abilene Wiley High School. Little scored over 3,000 points in her high school career and led the Lady Bulldogs to the state tournament in 2010 and state championships in 2011 and 2012. In the 2012 state championship game, Little scored 33 points and was named the state tournament MVP. She averaged 5 points a game as a freshman at Texas A&M before transferring to the University of Oklahoma. She was the Big 12 Newcomer of the Year and an all Big 12 first-team selection as a sophomore while averaging 13 points a game. Little became the 32nd player to score 1,000 points as a Sooner and finished her career with 1,187 points during her 3 seasons at OU. Little finished her career ranked 4th in three-point field goal attempts with 487 and 6th at OU in three-point field goals made with 161. She started 96 of her 99 total games at Oklahoma, scoring in double figures in 66 of those 99 games. She started all 33 games as a senior, averaging 12.4 points and 1.7 steals per contest. She was the Big 12 Player of the Week on January 1st, 2017, after recording 20 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game in conference wins over Kansas and TCU. Little set a school record when she played all 50 minutes in OU's double overtime win against West Virginia, scoring 17 points. Peyton is the latest Little family member to be inducted into the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. Her father, Richard, and uncles David and Mike, who played basketball at Abilene High and at Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Baylor, respectively, are previous Legacy Award inductees. Now, please welcome Peyton Little-Decker as the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everyone. Let me first start out by saying I was known for my basketball ability, not my public speaking skills. I'll keep this short and sweet. I'm sure my 15-month-old, who's probably running around somewhere, will appreciate that. But there are people I would like to thank, because without them, I wouldn't be standing up here today receiving this recognition. First and most obvious, I've got to give God all the glory and praise for the gifts He's given me. Those include a healthy career, only having missed one game throughout high school, college, and overseas. Incredible family, friends, teammates, and coaches. Next, I'd like to thank Al Pickett and the rest of the board for voting me in. It is such an honor to be mentioned amongst other highly accomplished people, and then to be sharing this honor with my dad and my uncles, who were inducted in 2013, holds a special place in my heart. I am truly humbled. Thank you. My family has supported me from the time I could dribble a ball. They instilled in me the belief that I could achieve anything I set my mind to. For my brother Cody, who relentlessly beat up on me in the driveway playing one-on-one, he would block my shot, score on me, and then I would run in the house crying to my mom that he wouldn't let me score. She always responded, "Well, then don't play." I'd stomp right back out the door and tell him to check up. So thanks, Cody, for teaching me to never give up. To my mom, who had to listen to me bounce a basketball in the kitchen many nights of her life, and then be dragged to the gym at 10 o'clock to rebound, your support was unwavering, Mom. A mother's love, one I now fully understand. Thank you. And to my dad, my hero, thank you for coaching me, for believing in me, and even for throwing your visor down every time I missed a free throw. I love you, and I wouldn't be standing up here without you having paved the way. I want to especially thank my high school coach, Tri Danley. Coach, so much of my success I attribute to you. The way you allowed me to play the game so freely, never questioning me pulling up from the logo. We had a heck of a run. I'm forever grateful for you. Basketball has taken me all over the world and is still such a big part of my life. Of course, God would see it through that I marry a men's basketball strength and conditioning coach. This leads to a lot of competition in our house, but sorry, honey, you'll never beat me in horse. The older you get as an athlete, you realize the wins, the losses, the awards all eventually fade away. And you even more so, you understand that sports isn't something you put your identity in. Sports are really just a warm-up for real life. I'll end with something my college coach, Sherry Cole at Oklahoma, ingrained in us, and it's simply to leave your story better than you found it. And hopefully I was able to do that. Thank you.
Peyton, thank you and congratulations. Next, we turn to the MHC Kenworth Video Board and the Pat Gerald Memorial Legacy Award to the Estes family. The Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame Board of Directors voted this year to name the Legacy Award the Pat Gerald Family Legacy Award, honoring the three generations of Sweetwater football coaches and players who were the first recipient of the Legacy Award. Like the Gerald family, this year's Legacy Award recipient, the Estes family of Abilene, covers three generations and several state championships. It all began with Bob Estes Sr., who legendary coach Pete Shotwell called the greatest high school player he ever coached. Estes led the Abilene High Eagles to the state finals in 1922. In fact, when the UIL recently celebrated its 100th year of high school football, the picture it used from the 1920s decade was that of Estes. At Simmons College, Estes lettered 3 years in football as a halfback and 4 years in baseball at second base and center field. He was selected all-conference in football in 1925 and 1926. Many Abilene residents remember Bob Estes as a longtime dentist in the Key City. Bob's son, Tommy Estes, who played sports at Abilene High, spent his career as a coach at Graham, Abilene Cooper, Abilene High, and McMurray University. He led the McMurray men's golf team to conference championships in 1977, 79, 80, and 81, and was an assistant coach on the 1980 National Playoff Football Team and the Conference Basketball Championship teams in 1979, 80, and 81. He then went to Cooper, where he led the Cougars boys golf team to 3 consecutive Class 5A state championships in 1982, 83, and 84. He then returned to McMurray, where he led the 1998 men's golf team to the NCAA Division III National Tournament. Tommy is a member of the McMurray Hall of Fame and was recently named the Golf Coach of the Century as McMurray celebrated the school's 100th anniversary. Tommy passed away in 2002. One of the stars of those 3 consecutive state championship golf teams at Cooper was Tommy and Bobby's oldest son, Bob, who was one of the early inductees in the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. Bob, who also played basketball at Cooper, was an All-American at the University of Texas and won the Haskins and Nicholas Awards as the nation's top collegiate golfer as a senior in 1988. He then joined the PGA Tour, where he was a 4-time winner. He had 2 top 10 finishes in majors in 1999, with a 4th place finish in the Masters and a 6th place finish in the PGA Championship. He is currently playing on the PGA's Champions Tour, where he has finished in the top 5 8 different times. Tommy's youngest son, Jay, brought Cooper and the Estes family a 4th state title when he was a starting outfielder on the Cougars' 1987 Class 5A state championship baseball team. Jay, who played basketball and baseball at Cooper, began his collegiate career playing basketball at McMurray and then played baseball at Hardin-Simmons and Texas A&M. 3 generations of the Estes family have brought unparalleled success to Abilene in football, baseball, and golf. Please welcome Bob and Jay Estes, representing the Estes family as this year's Legacy Award recipients in the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Alan. That was an awesome video. Get organized here. Well, it all started back in the late 1800s. I'm joking, I wouldn't do that to you. However, soon after the Civil War, my great-great-great-grandmother, Christina Ann McCampbell Estes, made her way with her children all the way from Alabama to Callahan County, Texas. Her husband had been killed in the war. They eventually made their way to Abilene, so that's how it all began. And I was going to say there were 4 great things about tonight, but of course the 5th was the barbecue meal that we had, so that was great. Thank you, David Hess. But the 4 that I've got here on my list is the fact that we get to come back home to Abilene. The second one, we get to spend time with Mom, other family members, and close friends. 3, we get to meet and celebrate with other inductees and their families. And 4, Brother Jay loves to speak in front of large groups. So tonight, because Jay was a baseball player, think of me as the starting pitcher and Jay is the ace relief pitcher. You like that? I'm going to introduce our family members quickly that are here and then say a little more and then bring Jay in from the bullpen. So in attendance tonight are John and Nancy Estes, Kenneth and Tammy Estes, Frank and Bonnie Estes, and by the way, Frank, cousin Frank, was a great pole vaulter at the University of Texas before transferring to Abilene Christian. Jay's wife Tracy, their daughter Paige, and their son Jack. Jack is currently on the golf team at Hardin-Simmons University, and he won his first individual tournament last spring. But actually, Jack also, on his resume, when he was a freshman at Pottsboro High School, they won the 3A state championship in Austin. And lastly, the MVP of our family, my mom, Bobby. Mom actually worked for me as my business manager most of my PGA Tour career. It's incredible how much she's done for all of us and how much she means to our entire family. Sadly, our dad passed away 2 summers ago. He was an amazing man to so many people. We also lost Dr. B.J. Estes and his wife Lael not too long ago. Dr. B.J., as many of you know, was an avid runner and completed many marathons, including multiple Boston marathons and the New York City Marathon. He was also one of my original golf sponsors when I first turned professional. I wish that they were all here to celebrate with us. And just like our grandparents, they were all very supportive, and I know that they would be very proud tonight. So in closing, on behalf of our entire family, we'd like to congratulate all of the other inductees and their family members. We would also like to thank the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame Board of Directors, and a very special thank you to the selection committee for this honor. So Jay, come close it out.
So really more like a closer. I think he pitched 8 innings, I only have 1 left. The coolest thing about coming here as a family and getting inducted as a family is that I'm going in with my heroes, and that's really cool and special to be able to join Bob and my dad and my grandfather. So, and you know, I love it that it's called the Legacy Award, because if anybody has ever been blessed by a rich family legacy, it's Bob and I. And it's a legacy of family. Can't think of a time where we weren't loved and supported and encouraged in everything that we did. And it's a legacy of faith. From an early age, we were taught that our worth was found in Christ and not in our wins or losses. And it's a legacy of just passion for sports. It's just let us play. It didn't matter to me. I went to 3 schools just trying to play, just trying to find a place to play. Legend has it, and I've heard this through my life, and so I believe it. You know, tell a story long enough, you believe it. And so I think this is true. Some other family members might verify it. But my grandfather, Dr. Bob, when he left Hardin-Simmons and his eligibility was up, he wasn't big enough for the NFL. He wasn't going to make it to the MLB, but he just wanted to keep playing. And so he moved to Austin, enrolled at the University of Texas as a freshman. They didn't have the internet. There wasn't a way to check. The way I've heard it is he was slated to start at running back for the freshman team, and right before the first game, they caught him, sent him packing. So that ended his athletic career. Dad had a successful high school career. He played a couple of years of basketball at Texas, and he wanted to just keep playing. And so he enlisted in the Army. And if you ever thanked him for his service, he would be real uncomfortable because, as he tells it, all he did was he went to France and played football for 2 years. So again, just that legacy of just letting us play is what we wanted to do. And we're sad that Dad's not here. Passed away a couple of years ago, and we had a good friend of ours ask us, if your dad was up there speaking, what would he say? And Bob and I both had the same answer. We laughed and said nothing. If you know our dad, the only thing that he hated worse than public speaking was talking about himself. So there was no chance he would be up here tonight. So the friend said, fair enough. What would he want you boys to say? And again, I think we had the same answer, and it was easy. Give your teammates and your coaches all the credit, and thank your mother. And so I was talking to Leanne Scott earlier tonight, and we just talked about the 3 teams that Bob got to play with in high school. It just happened that the years he was there, the talent in golf was just unbelievable. The 3 years I was in high school, the talent in baseball was just unbelievable. And Leanne and I used the same word to describe it. It was just a magical time. And it wasn't just the players, it was the parents and the coaches and the community. It just was a magical time. And I started feeling bad for Corey, and I thought, gosh, how cool would it have been to have Corey on the team? And then I got to thinking, No, he's an outfielder. He'd have taken my spot. So I'm going to end with this. Mom, I can't think of a better coach's wife. And I can't think of a better sports mom to Bob and I. So thank you, and we love you.
Jay, your senior year was my first year in Abilene, and I thought, man, every high school baseball team is like that 87 Cooper team. They haven't all been like that. That was a pretty special bunch that won the state championship. Turn back to the MHC Kenworth video board and the introduction of Jay Hess. The 1982 state championship football team in Eastland was known as the Miracle Mavericks, as the team pulled off one last-second come-from-behind playoff victory after another en route to an undefeated season in the Class 2A state championship. The engineer of that remarkable postseason run at Eastland was quarterback Jay Hess. He threw for a state record 3,154 yards and 37 touchdowns in leading Eastland to that 1982 state title. He was voted the Texas High School Player of the Year for all classifications, a first-team All-State selection for a second straight year, and a Parade Magazine All-American as a senior. He ended his high school career with a state record 5,771 passing yards and 63 touchdown passes, the fourth highest total in Texas history at that time. A member of the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame, Hess went on to play football at Texas A&M and the University of Iowa. Perhaps no state championship team or no player had a string of more last-second amazing finishes than Eastland and Hess. It all began in the second round of the playoffs when Hess threw a touchdown pass in the fourth quarter to tie Holiday 7-7, and Eastland advanced on penetrations. In the third round, Hess threw a touchdown pass to Justin Owen with 11 seconds left, and the two hooked up for a two-point conversion to give the Mavericks a 21-20 upset of defending state champion Pilot Point. In the quarterfinals, Eastland trailed 29-21 in the fourth quarter. He threw a long touchdown pass and then completed a two-point conversion pass to Owen to tie the game at 29-29. Eastland then scored a touchdown with 1:19 remaining in the game to capture a 37-29 victory. In the semifinals, Eastland again trailed, this time 12-9 to Hale Center, but Hess threw a touchdown pass with 1:23 left for a 16-12 win and a berth in the state title. 4 straight games in the playoffs and 4 straight wins, all in the last minutes of the game. The state championship game was almost anticlimactic as Eastland defeated East Bernard 28-6, but as the game wound down, a plane flew over Floyd Casey Stadium in Waco, congratulating the Miracle Mavericks. Please welcome Jay Hess, the quarterback of the 1982 Eastland Miracle Mavericks, as the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
First of all, I want to thank Al Pickett and all the board of directors for giving me the opportunity to be here. And I walked into the museum earlier today, and I just want to say I'm humbled and honored to now be a part of that elite group. My story took place in the late 70s, early 80s in Eastland, Texas. And anyone in here that's as old as I am, they can tell you right now that high school football teams just did not throw the football in the 60s and 70s. And I remember the late, great, legendary Abilene sports writer, Bill Hart, coming down on the field after one of our playoff games in 1982 and coming up to me and he going, "Oh, y'all are doing something there's never been seen or never been done." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "You're throwing the football like 25 to 30 times a game and you're winning." And I mean, that doesn't really seem like much now, but anyway, teams didn't really know how to defend it because they never had seen it. And I remember they'd finally spread everybody out, and then that's when we'd gash them with our all-state running back, James Morton, right up the gut. And he went on to have a successful college career, became a great head coach at Midland Lee and a few other 6A high schools, but finished his career at Eastland along with his son Barron, who played quarterback, broke all my records there, and is now the starting quarterback at Texas Tech. That was a neat deal to see them come back to Eastland, and I was one of their biggest fans. Back to the 1982 season, we had 4 games that year that were come from behind, last minute, miraculous wins, as I'm sure you saw on the video. But the one game that everyone remembers was the Pilot Point game. And this game was in a book called Texas High School Football's 50 Greatest Games. And leads you up to the game. Pilot Point had a 44-game winning streak. They were 1980 state champs, undefeated. 1981 state champions, undefeated. And here it is, 1982. They're 14-0. They're blowing out all their opponents by 50 and 60 points. And this is probably their best team yet. So we're a heavy underdog. And to make matters even worse, we had 2 players, all-district players from the year before. We lost those guys like 5 days before the Pilot Point game in a terrible car crash. So we're all screwed up. We're not even thinking about the game until the day of the game. And finally, the day of the game, we dedicate the game to those 2 guys. And that was Grandel Garrett and Scott Brown. But to make a long story short, on the game, Pilot Point scored to go ahead of us 20-13 with 2 minutes left. So we take the ball on our own 20-yard line. 2 minutes left, no timeouts. Here we go, 8-yard pass completion, 9-yard pass completion, Morton run for 7, incomplete pass, 12-yard pass completion. But anyhow, after 18 plays, converting on 2 different 4th downs, we're finally down the 11-yard line with 7 seconds left. So this is the last play of the game. So we lay one up in the back left corner of the end zone. Receiver hits the back pylon, covered like a blanket, 1 foot in bounds, one-handed catch, touchdown. So now it's 20-19. All right, so now we're deciding whether to go for 1 or 2. We elect to go for 2 and try to end it. We come back with the same exact play, except instead of a post flag, we're going to run a flag post. Receiver comes down with it in the middle of the end zone, 2-point conversion, good, game over. That's the end of Pilot Point's 3-year win streak. And the receiver that happened to catch both those balls was a guy by the name of Justin Owen. And he's another one that sadly is no longer with us, but he went on to become a first-team All-State receiver that year. Okay, now let's fast forward to the state game. The state game, after 4 come-from-behind games, was a blowout. And now what I'm about to tell you really happened. There's like 3 minutes left in the game. We're all hugging and crying on the sideline. Second team's already on defense. And all of a sudden, here comes Bill Hart again. He's coming down from the press box, and he's coming right towards me, and he's not walking, he's running. And he comes up to me, and he's huffing and puffing. He says, "Oh, you got to go tell him. You got to go tell him now." And I look at him, and I'm afraid I've had a family member who's had a heart attack and bleach or something. I say, "Got to go tell who what?" He says, "You got to go tell Coach Hess that you're only 3 yards shy of the all-time state passing record. And then when y'all go back in on offense, you can't put the little boys in yet." So I go over there and tell him. Then I come back, Bill Hart's father there, he said, "What'd he say?" And I said, "He didn't say anything. He just stared straight ahead." He said, "What does that mean?" And I said, "I don't know. I guess we're going to find out in about 5 minutes." Well, 5 minutes later, East Bernard finally scores. My dad yells out, "First down, let's go." So we take off running back out there, and yes, we do have a pass play called. There's about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes left in the game. But you got to remember, again, this was 1982. There weren't any give-me's as far as throwing the ball. This was before the bubble screen or the slip screen even been invented. And so anyway, we call a 10-yard down and out. And we complete it to either Gary Stewart or Richard Farrell. I can't remember, but immediately the guy on the PA system there at Baylor Stadium goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, got your attention, please. Jay Hess has just set the all-time state passing record, previously held by Todd Dodge and Port Arthur Jefferson." But anyhow, as soon as I'm walking off the field, the first guy to give me a hug is Bill Hart. And I gave him a huge hug back and whispered in his ear, thank you, because I mean, if it hadn't been for him, it wouldn't have happened, but I know he's looking down from heaven tonight smiling because he knows this was a true story. But this isn't just about me, this is for my teammates. And you know, they're the ones that this is for. And looking back, as far as throwing the ball offensively, we were way ahead of our time. I mean, because everybody does it now. But my dad was just someone that wasn't afraid to try something new. And that took a lot of guts back then, because coaches back then were taught to, you know, you run the football, and he went against that. Someone else I need to recognize is my younger brother, Judd. He was the only sophomore on that team, all district on defense. Went on to become a great high school running back his junior and senior year at Montgomery High School. But that was a neat deal for all three of us to be able to share that state championship together. And another great player we had that year was Jim Moreland. He's here tonight, and he was the anchor of that defense, the only kid we had on that defensive side of the ball that was an all-state player. But it was great times, had tremendous teammates, and thank you all for making this a special night for me.
Jay and Bill Hart worked with me for 12 years. If he came running down, he was huffing and puffing when he came running down. Next turn to the MHC Kenworth video board and the introduction of Jim McKinney. A native of Memphis, Tennessee, Jim McKinney taught for 32 years, including 28 at Abilene Cooper High School in physical education, health, and social studies. Of course, he is best known at Cooper for coaching gymnastics, where he was the head gymnastics coach for 25 years. His team won 3 state championships. His teams also finished second 4 times and in third place 8 times at the state meet. He coached 38 individual state champions during his tenure at Cooper, and during that time, McKinney was named the Texas High School Gymnastics Coach of the Year 5 times and was twice named the National High School Gymnastics Coach of the Year. McKinney also enjoyed a remarkable career as a gymnastics judge. He judged 120 national championship gymnastics meets, including the U.S. Olympic trials, the U.S. Nationals, and the NCAA championships, along with 15 international championship meets. He has been president of the Texas High School Gymnastics Coaches Association, and he's been inducted into the Texas High School Gymnastics Hall of Fame, the Gymnastics Association of Texas Hall of Fame, and the National Gymnastics Judges Association Hall of Fame. Now, add one more Hall of Fame to his impressive resume. Please welcome Jim McKinney as the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame.
This is pretty overwhelming to me. I'm not really a public figure, but I want to thank the board and my family, and congratulate all the other people. I was very fortunate to know a lot of the Estes family. They were great. And I want to introduce my wife, Lydia. You don't have to stand up, Lydia. She's put up with me for 54 years. And she's made a lot of things a lot easier for me. I do want to buy one of those t-shirts that says, "Raising my husband is exhausting." Also, my oldest daughter is here tonight, Megan, and her husband, Tom. Thank you. Making the trip. They live in Albany, New York. My youngest daughter could not make it because this is prom weekend for our 16-year-old granddaughter. She looked fabulous. I also want to talk a little bit about Bob Joy. Bob Joy started the gymnastics program at Cooper High School in 1970. 3 years later, he brought me in because he wanted to move into administration. But at that time, he'd already started a junior high program. He had age group gymnastics through the city, and gave me the opportunity to get going. And I already had some good athletes, And those first years, I was so fortunate to have so many kids that were doing well that people thought I could coach. And I told Corey earlier, when I graduated from high school, I weighed 140 pounds. He looked at me like, really? But that was the way it was. But I did not have any athletics in high school, and there were no athletics for the girls. I got into college and I discovered the sport of gymnastics, and I found out I could coach it a little bit. So I started doing that, moved here to Cooper, and also I was saying about Mr. Joy, he started an outdoor education program. And I think Bev Ball, the legendary coach, was the first teacher at Abilene High, and I was at Cooper. And that gave me a lot of opportunity to work with a variety of students. One time I was going to take a bunch of kids on a camping trip, and the principal came over. He said, Jim, I looked at your list of students. You have on here one of the meanest, worst kids in the school. Are you taking him camping? Did you know that? I said, yeah, I knew that. That's the reason I'm taking him. His program will make him better. And sure enough, his behavior improved over the couple of days. The very last day, I saw some kids come over to him and they said, hey, you told us we were throwing McKinney in the river today. And he looked over there and I could hear him. He said, you know, I don't think I want to mess with that little blank, blank, blank. You can fill in those blanks. Also, I was not a very good girls coach. I didn't know very much about dance or the balance beam. In the very first meet, we went to Odessa, Permian, get to the balance beam, the girl falls off, she runs out in the hall crying. Pretty soon, there are 3 girls out in the hall, and one of the guys came to me, he said, Coach, you gotta go out in the hall. The girls are out there crying. I said, I don't know what to do when girls cry. So with the parents' help and with Mr. Joy again, they hired someone to coach the girls. They had 4 different people do that. 2 of those are here today, Sherry Bloom and Joe Weigel. So that improved the balance beam quite a bit, and I didn't have to go out and see girls crying. Some other people that really supported me through the whole thing were the principals. They made it possible for me to work with all these kids, and I think they could see good things going on in there. And we also had another girls program in the school. So thank you to those principals. Also, even though we had the program going, we didn't have very much equipment. So we had to get equipment to make it much safer for the kids. So that's when I brought the parents in. And I thought the bad equipment was a bad thing in the beginning, but then as I got to know the parents, it was a blessing. So many of them were supportive through that whole program the whole time. And it just made it so much awesome. Excuse me, I wrote small. But I do want to say about the girls, even though I wasn't a good coach, I loved all of you, and you made me a better person, and you taught me quite a bit. I learned about the prom. You don't plan anything on prom weekend, or you're going to be in trouble. The boys was a little bit different story because I did have some great ones in the beginning. I recruited a guy out of my health class I was teaching, got him over to the gym. It was pretty cool. He came in that day, but he thought I was a tennis coach. But anyway, that kept going, and I had 8 families that I had multiple children out of that family. I thought, boy, these parents really trust me. But that worked out great. But I had a plan, and my plan was to have a place the kid could come that maybe didn't fit in other sports, maybe people small, whatever. And what I wanted to be, I wanted a place for them to belong, to succeed, to become responsible and happy men and women. I was talking to one of the guys yesterday. He said, you know, when you took us those meets, you made us dress up. Because you said it was important, that meet, and we had to wear suits. And then he said later, he said, by the way, I'm coming to the thing tomorrow night, which is now, and what do I wear? I said, you just wear whatever you think's appropriate. If you see a nice looking man walking around here in a suit, I think my plan worked. Thank you, Lydia and Megan and Tom, and thanks to the board. Thank you very much.
Our final inductee is Bob Sanderson, and if you turn to the MHC Kenworth video board for his introduction. Bob Sanderson was the head gymnastics coach at Abilene High for 16 years from 1983 to 1999. His coaching career spanned a total of 24 years between Abilene and Lebanon, Kentucky. His teams at Marion County High School in Kentucky qualified for the state meet 7 times and won state championships in 1982 and 83. During his 16 years at Abilene High, Sanderson led the 1989 team to a state championship. He coached teams that earned a second-place finish once and a third-place finish on 2 different occasions. Sanderson coached 7 district champions and 4 regional championships while at Abilene High. He also coached 9 gymnasts who qualified for the National High School Championship meet. Sanderson was twice named the Texas High School Gymnastics Coach of the Year. He was the National High School Gymnastics Association Coach of the Year award winner in 1989, and he has been inducted into the Texas High School Gymnastics Hall of Fame. He is a 7-time District Coach of the Year and a 4-time Regional Coach of the Year. Please welcome Bob Sanderson as the newest member of the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame. I think Jim's going to get another word on you. Jim, you get one quick word.
I'm so sorry, but my notes are bad. But I left out one of the most important people, and that is Bob Sanderson. He came here in 1983 as the coach at Abilene High, and we became really good friends. He was an outstanding coach and a terrific friend. We did a lot of things together, and he made gymnastics in Texas so much better. Thank you, Bob.
Well, thank everybody for being here tonight to celebrate in this great moment. It's such an honor, and I want to thank the board and of the Big Country Hall of Fame and their selection committee for selecting me for this position. It's an honor that I'd never dreamed that it would happen, but good things, I guess, happen sometimes. I want to thank my family. Most of them are here, 3 brothers and a cousin, and their wives. My wife, Carol, who, you know, I was lucky. I was really lucky there. She's an awesome, and my 2 sons, Chad and Dustin, are here. So thank you for being here. My career started way back in high school up in Illinois, and competed in gymnastics on pommel horse, and I was not very good at all. My junior year, I moved to Clarksville, Indiana, and had a coach called Chuck Menching. And Chuck was a super coach. He had instilled within us strong morals and integrity. And that was something that stayed with me for ever since then. I then graduated from high school, did not plan to go to college or anything like that. So I took a year off, and one of my friends that graduated at another school we were friends with, his second year, he was going to go to Eastern Kentucky University to register for his classes. He was a baseball pitcher. And so he said, hey, you want to go with me? And I said, oh, yeah, sure. Well, it didn't take much. 2 weeks later, I was a walk-on on the gymnastics team at Eastern Kentucky University. And I had a coach there, Dr. Jerry Calkin. What a fabulous man. And I was doing pommel horse and some vault, and I wasn't much. My second year, Coach Calkin came to me and said, I would like for you to work and do the all-around, do every event. And I could play around on some of the events and stuff, but nothing ever serious. And then he said, if you'll do that, if you'll commit to do that, and you work hard, I'll give you this scholarship. And from that point on, I worked hard every day just to keep those funds coming into my account. Because I don't know if I would have been able to afford it otherwise. So it was a great time. I got a job at Lebanon, Kentucky, coaching Marion County High School. We went to state a couple of times and had a great group of parents, a great group of kids. After 7 years and 2 state championships, I decided it was time to make a change. I found out a man here at Emil Milan was coaching at LD Bell High School. And I called him. I got his number from my college coach and called him up and told him who it was. And I said, hey, do you know of any openings in Texas? And he said, yeah, yesterday one opened in Abilene, Texas. I called Gail Lomax, who's here tonight, and we had a great conversation. I said, I'm going to Albuquerque to get a coaching award, and I would like to come by, and if you'll hold that spot for me so I can come by and interview for it, I would appreciate it. So he agreed to that, and so I changed my flight plans, flying from Florida to Albuquerque, and I got off in DFW, and I thought, oh, it won't take me long to drive to Abilene, right? Yeah. And I said, where'd all the trees go, after being in Kentucky? But anyway, I met with Gail Lomax, and he and I spent most of the day together talking. He took me to Danny's Barbecue. We had a great lunch. The first time I'd had Texas barbecue. And then he took me over to the swim pool, over to the Sunfish swim pool to meet Bev Ball. And Bev Ball that day adopted me. And I can't say enough about her and what she's done in my life. And she has been a positive mentor for many of us in this room. And I just can't thank you enough. I love you the best today, Bev. I want to also thank many of the gymnasts. Jim and I had a reunion of our gymnasts from over the years yesterday downtown, and we had an amazing time. A lot of them we hadn't seen for 30 or 40 years, and they came in, and a lot of them are here tonight. And I wanted to just say that I owe a lot of the success to my administration, the principals, the administrators, and the parents. The parents were so great to have, and they were very supportive, and they trusted me with their kids, which was a good thing. But I want to say to the gymnasts that you walked into the gym every day and gave your best. Some days better than others, some days more of a struggle, some days not knowing what was going to happen. But every day there were successes. Every day I got thank yous. And that meant a lot to me. But the most important thing, and to my gym, is you have enriched my life more than you'll ever know. Thank you all. Thank you, Big Country. Thank you, award winners.
While we were sitting up here, Peyton turned to me and whispered and goes, there's been a lot of great athletes coming out of the Big Country, haven't there? Yes, there have been. Over 230 we've inducted now. That group includes 6 members of winning Super Bowl teams, a 3-time World Series champion, 5 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, a Masters champion, 3 Olympians, including a gold medalist, and this group. What a great group. How about I give them another great round of applause? That concludes our banquet tonight. We appreciate you being here. Please, if you can, contribute to the Abilene Gives. anytime between now and May 7th to help support the Big Country Athletic Hall of Fame and our efforts to continue to preserve the great sports history in the Big Country. If they turn the lights on and enjoy the evening, hope you have a chance to stand around and visit. Appreciate your being here. Thank you so much.